Before I tell you what happened, you need to understand something. A single kiss shouldn't be able to change the direction of a life. It shouldn't stop time, or make the world go quiet, or make a grown adult suddenly forget every rule they swore to follow. But that night it did. Because when his lips brushed mine slow, hesitant, like he was asking a question he wasn't supposed to ask, every line we promised we'd never cross simply disappeared. And I knew, even before the kiss fully landed, nothing after this moment would ever be the same. The morning had settled into a soft gold, the kind that makes everything feel dreamlike. The lake shimmered, the breeze barely stirred, and the entire world seemed to hold its breath around us as if it knew something long-awaited was finally about to happen. Ryan pulled back just enough to look at me, his hands still warm on my arms, his eyes soft with a depth that pulled me inward without effort. "Emma," he murmured. There was something in the way he said my name. Something quiet, reverent, as though the years apart had only sharpened the truth he'd been carrying. I lifted my head and our eyes met in that delicate, trembling space where a touch becomes a choice. He didn't rush. He didn't lean in with confidence. He leaned in with care, slow, almost hesitant, like a man afraid to break something fragile. I felt the moment shift, the air thicken with warmth. My heartbeat stirred softly against my ribs, matching the rhythm of his breath. His forehead touched mine again, just a feather-like connection, and he let out the smallest exhale, one that brushed across my lips without touching them. "Tell me to stop," he whispered. I didn't even breathe. Instead, I let my hand slide up to his chest, feeling the steady, quiet thrum beneath my fingers. His heartbeat answered mine, like it had been waiting for this moment too. That was all the permission he needed. Ryan moved slowly, his nose brushing mine, a soft, trembling, almost kiss that lingered long enough to send warmth spiraling through me. The anticipation alone felt like an entire confession. Then finally, beautifully, his lips touched mine, soft, warm, barely there, a kiss that wasn't claiming or taking but remembering. He kissed me like he was rediscovering a language he once spoke fluently, slowly, gently, savoring every second. His hand rose to cradle my jaw, his thumb brushing the line of my cheek, as if memorizing me all over again. I leaned in just a little more, letting the closeness deepen, but still keeping it soft, two hearts meeting again after too many years of silence. The kiss deepened only by a breath, never rushing, never breaking the tenderness. It was the kind of kiss that wasn't about desire. It was about recognition, about coming home. When he finally pulled back, he rested his forehead against mine again, breathing slightly unsteadily, as though the world had tilted gently beneath him. "Emma," he whispered, voice rough with emotion, "I've thought about that for years." I smiled, the kind of soft, full smile that only comes when something long buried finally finds the light. "So have I whispered back. His thumb brushed my chin, guiding my face up toward his again. But this time he didn't rush into another kiss. He just looked at me, really looked at me with a tenderness that felt like sunrise. "We're not dreaming," he said softly. "No," I breathed, "we're finally awake." And in that moment, wrapped in morning light and quiet warmth, it felt like the beginning of something real, something fragile, beautiful, and undeniably ours. The sun kept climbing, painting the lake in colors too delicate to name, rose gold, a whisper of lavender. And still, we stood there, hands woven together like we were relearning something our hearts had never forgotten. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Silence didn't feel empty. It felt full, like the morning light that slowly warms everything it touches. Ryan exhaled, the kind of breath that carries years inside it. "I don't know what happens next," he said softly, "but I know what I don't want. I don't want this moment to become another memory I lose you to." My throat tightened. Because I understood, because I felt exactly the same. "I don't want that either," I whispered. A flock of birds scattered across the sky, breaking the stillness with their wings. He watched them for a second, then turned back to me, the faintest smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. "You always said mornings were your favorite," he murmured. "Because everything feels possible." "It does," I said. "Right now, it does." We walked again, slower this time. Not like two people revisiting a place, but like two people stepping into a new one. The grass shimmered with dew. The lake mirrored the newborn sun. And every step beside him felt like a quiet promise. At the small pier, he stopped. "Emma," he said, and there was a tremor in his voice I'd never heard before. "If this is a beginning, I want to start it honestly." I nodded, heart pounding. "I'm not who I used to be," he continued. "I've made mistakes. I've lost things I shouldn't have lost. I've hurt people without meaning to. But with you, I want to do it right. Whatever this becomes, however slow or messy or uncertain it matters, you matter. His vulnerability undid me. It was like watching a fortress open its gates after years of silence. I stepped closer. Ryan, we don't have to rush anything, I said gently. We don't have to define it today. All we have to do is not walk away. He laughed under his breath, relief softening his features. That I can do. He took my hands again. Not with urgency, but with reverence. As if holding something he thought he'd lost forever. And there, with sunlight spilling over the water and morning stretching its arms around us, something shifted. Something settled. He looked at me the way he used to, like I was a story he'd memorized but was reading again for the first time. So, he said, voice quiet, warm, hopeful. What now? I smiled. For the first time in years, it reached all the way into my bones. Now, I whispered, we go forward. Together. He closed his eyes for a moment, letting the words sink in. When he opened them, they were bright alive, with a gentle kind of certainty. The day had fully broken by the time we walked back toward the hall. The world felt new, a little terrifying, but beautifully, breathtakingly full of possibility. As we reached the path that split one way to the parking lot, one back toward the lake, Ryan paused. You choose, he said. Wherever you go, I'll follow. I turned to him, sunlight kissing his face, and felt the deep, unmistakable truth settle inside me. Some returns are actually beginnings. And some people are not chapters, they are the story. We didn't go our separate ways. Not that morning. Not after everything that had resurfaced between us. Ryan stopped walking and gently touched my arm, a soft, hesitant brush, like he was afraid the spell might break if he pushed too hard. Emma, he murmured, just stay a little longer. I should have been nervous. I should have questioned everything. But the truth was simple. Being close to him didn't feel reckless. It felt like breathing. We walked back toward the lake, not speaking. Words suddenly felt too small for what was happening. The world around us was awake now, birds calling, sunlight stretching across the water, but between us, there was a quiet, private world forming. When we reached the edge of the dock, he took a slow breath and stepped behind me. Not touching, just close enough that I could feel the warmth of him, the familiar gravity that had once pulled me in without warning. You always loved this view, he said softly. I did, I whispered. But I think I loved who I shared it with even more. He exhaled a shaky, unguarded sound that said more than words could. There was a pause, the kind that hums with unspoken truths. Then he reached out slowly, giving me every chance to pull away. His fingers brushed mine, gentle, careful, as if asking a question. I answered by intertwining them with his. A soft, trembling closeness filled the air. It wasn't hunger, it wasn't fire, it was something deeper. The kind of intimacy that grows in the space between two people who know each other's old scars and quiet hopes. He stepped closer, his chest just inches from my back, his breath warm against my hair. You have no idea, he said quietly, how many times I imagined standing beside you again, not as strangers, but like this. I turned to face him, our hands still joined. His eyes searched mine, not demanding, but waiting, truly waiting for permission. Ryan, my voice broke on his name. He lifted his hand to my cheek, but he didn't rush. His touch was soft, reverent, almost fragile. The kind of touch that says, I remember you. I never stopped. His forehead leaned against mine, and for a moment the whole world narrowed to the warmth between us. I'm not asking for a promise, he whispered. Just a chance. I closed my eyes. Let myself feel everything I'd buried. Let myself lean into him just enough to tell him the truth. You already have one. He pulled me into a quiet embrace, slow, enveloping, full of the kind of closeness that comes not from desire, but from years of unsaid words finally finding a place to rest. His heartbeat pressed against mine. His hands held me like I was something fragile and precious. And in that moment, we weren't lost or broken or uncertain. We were just two people finding each other again. And the world felt impossibly, beautifully intimate. We stayed like that for a long time, his arm around me. The morning warming the lake, the quiet settling between us like a soft blanket. It didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel borrowed. It felt right, like something that had been waiting patiently for years. Eventually, he pulled back, just enough to see my face, but his hands stayed on my arms. Steady and warm. I keep thinking this isn't real, he said quietly. That I'm gonna wake up and realize I imagined all of it. You, the lake, this. I smiled, small and tender. You're not dreaming, Ryan. He shook his head a little, as if still trying to absorb the moment. It's just when I left, I thought time would dull everything. But it didn't. If anything, it made it clearer. His thumb brushed my arm, slow, almost absent-minded. You were the thing that stayed. A breath escaped me, soft and unsteady. Don't say things like that unless you mean them. I do, he said. God, Emma, I do. His voice held a sincerity that made my heart ache. We sat down on the edge of the dock, our legs dangling over the water. Our shoulders touched not by accident but by choice. A quiet intimacy. A rediscovered comfort. For a while, we just watched the ripples drift lazily across the lake. I used to come here after work, I admitted. Years ago. Some days I didn't even know why. I think some part of me was hoping for exactly this, even if I never said it aloud. He turned to look at me, his expression soft but intense in a way that pulled something deep inside me. Emma, he said in a low voice, can I ask you something? Anything. He hesitated, not with fear but respect. Are you happy? Not with this moment but with your life. With where things have taken you. It was a question no one had asked me in years. I looked at the lake, the sunlight glittering like broken glass across the surface. I'm learning to be, I said. Some days feel lighter than others. Some days are heavy. But I'm trying. And right now with you, my voice softened. I feel something I haven't felt in a long time. He breathed in slowly. Hope? He asked. I nodded. Hope. Ryan's hand slid gently over mine, his fingers threading through with a care that felt like a promise. You deserve that, he said. You deserve someone who sees you. Really sees you. I feel seen, I whispered. His face shifted, relief, warmth, something deeper. Emma. He said my name like it was a confession. If I'm too close or too much, tell me, I don't want to hurt you. You're not too close, I said softly. You're finally exactly where I always hoped you'd be. His breath trembled. Mine did too. And for a moment, the dock, the lake, the morning, all of it disappeared, leaving just the two of us suspended in a quiet, tender gravity. He leaned in, not for a kiss, not yet, but until his forehead rested gently against my temple. A touch that was intimate in a way words could never fully capture. I'm here, he murmured. And I'm not going anywhere. His hand tightened slightly around mine, warm, safe, certain. And in that silence, surrounded by the rising light of a new day, I knew this wasn't just a return. It was the beginning of a life we had once been too young, too scared, too unready to choose. But now we could. The sun rose higher, warming the dock beneath our feet. But the warmth between us was different, quieter, deeper, built from years of unsaid things slowly finding their way into the light. Ryan didn't rush. He didn't step closer in some dramatic gesture. He simply stayed beside me, our shoulders touching, our fingers woven together, breaths rising and falling in a gentle shared rhythm. It felt sacred, this slow, careful return. I keep thinking about how strange life is, I said softly, watching a small wave kiss the wood below us. How we lose people we thought we'd keep forever, and somehow find them again when we least expect it. You didn't lose me, he said. His voice was low, steady. I was just stupid enough to think walking away would make life clearer. And now? He turned to me fully. Now I'm here and I'm seeing everything I should have seen a long time ago. His gaze held mine with an intensity so gentle it made my chest tighten. I looked away for a moment, because the truth of his words settled too deep, touched too many old wounds. But he lifted his hand. Just enough to brush a loose strand of hair away from my cheek. The touch was tender, careful, as if asking permission to feel what had always been there. Emma, he murmured, I don't want to rush you. I don't want to overwhelm you. I just want to be close again. Real close. The way we were before life pulled us in different directions. I swallowed, my heart thudding softly. Ryan, you're not overwhelming me, I said. You're reminding me what it feels like to be wanted, not for convenience, not out of habit, but because someone truly sees me. His thumb gently traced the back of my hand. Slow and warm. I see you, he whispered. Every part you think you hide. Every part you learn to quiet. I see all of it. A breath trembled out of me, one I didn't even realize I was holding. I forgot what that felt like, I admitted. He nodded, his expression softening into something heartbreakingly sincere. You don't have to forget anymore. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The world moved around us, the water shifting, birds calling in the tree, but the air between us was still, charged with unspoken truth. Then Ryan did something small but impossibly intimate. He lifted my hand to his chest and pressed it over his heartbeat. Steady, warm, familiar. A rhythm I once knew without thinking. That, he said softly, has been yours longer than I ever let myself admit. My breath caught. My fingers curled slightly against his shirt, feeling the rise and fall of his breathing, the quiet strength beneath it. And it's still yours, he added, voice steady, but full of emotion. If you want it. I looked up at him, really looked, at the man he'd become. At the boy he once was, at the space we'd both carried for each other through the years. Ryan, I whispered, I never stopped wanting it. His eyes closed for a second, relief washing through him like a wave breaking after a long storm. When he opened them, they were brighter, softer, full of something dangerously hopeful. He leaned in, not to close the distance completely, just enough that I could feel the warmth of his breath against my cheek. Emma, he said quietly, can I hold you? The question was simple, but the meaning behind it was everything. You already are, I murmured, and just like that, he wrapped his arms around me slowly, carefully, as if he was gathering years of longing and placing them gently between us. I rested my head against his chest, the world fading into the steady beat beneath my ear. We didn't speak. We didn't need to. The intimacy wasn't in the touch alone. It was in the recognition, the rediscover, the quiet acceptance that some people aren't meant to disappear. Some people come back home. We stayed wrapped in that quiet embrace until the sun rose high enough to warm the top of my head. But neither of us moved. Neither of us broke the moment. It felt like stepping into a room I'd lived in once. Long ago, a room filled with familiarity, safety, and something deeply tender. When I finally lifted my head, Ryan didn't let go. His hands rested lightly at my waist, warm, steady, asking nothing, holding everything. He searched my face, his eyes soft but full of 1,000 unsaid thoughts. You're still the same, he whispered, and somehow, more. I felt heat bloom in my cheeks, unexpected, quiet, the kind that comes from being seen in a way that goes beyond appearance or time. And you, I said, my voice barely above a breath, you're different, but in the best way. How? You feel grounded. Steady, like you finally know who you are. He laughed under his breath, a small, almost disbelieving sound. I don't know if I know everything, he said, but I know one thing with absolute certainty. What's that? You make me feel like the world slows down. My breath caught soft, involuntary, real. Ryan's hand slid up to my shoulder, his fingers brushing the side of my neck with a tenderness so gentle it sent a quiet shiver through me. Not passion, not urgency. Connection. The kind that touches the soul first, the skin second. I didn't think I'd get this moment again, he murmured. You, here, with me, close enough to touch. We're both here, I whispered. That has to mean something. It means everything, he said. I felt myself leaning into him, just slightly, just naturally, like gravity was doing the work for us. He met the movement with the softest shift forward, his forehead brushing mine. It wasn't a kiss. Not yet. It was the space right before one, warm, trembling, full of quiet electricity. His breath mingled with mine, slow and steady. Emma, he said, voice low and careful. I don't want to assume anything. I don't want to cross a line you're not ready for. You're not crossing anything, I whispered. You're reminding me how it feels to be close to someone I trust. His thumb traced a soft circle against my hip, barely there, just a touch of warmth. But it sank deep. I've missed this, he admitted. Not the physical closeness. This. He leaned back just far enough to gesture between us. The way being near you feels like honesty. I swallowed, my heart tightening in that sweet, aching way. Ryan, you're the only person who ever made me feel fully understood. Even when I didn't know how to explain myself. His eyes softened, emotion rich and quiet settling there. He lifted a hand to my cheek again, slow, asking, reverent, and I didn't pull away. I leaned into his palm, letting the warmth settle through me. Can I tell you something? He asked. Anything. His thumb brushed the corner of my jaw. When I held you just now, it didn't feel like remembering. It felt like coming back. Something inside me loosened, something I'd kept locked tight for years. I placed my hand over his, holding it against my cheek, letting him feel the truth of my heartbeat beneath my skin. Maybe, I whispered. This is where we were always meant to meet again. He exhaled slowly, deeply, like the words unwound something inside him. The dock creaked under us, the lake shimmered, and a soft breeze moved through the trees, but between us, there was a stillness, a calm. A closeness that didn't need to be explained or rushed or named. Ryan leaned closer, slowly, giving me every chance until our noses brushed, the softest touch, the quietest spark. Not a kiss, but an invitation. A question. A promise. A moment suspended, and I didn't pull away. For a moment, neither of us moved. Our breaths touched, our foreheads brushed, and the air between us trembled not with urgency, but with the soft certainty of two people who had finally stopped running from the truth. Ryan's eyes searched mine, not for permission, but for understanding. 4. Alignment. For the shared rhythm we kept slipping back into like gravity. Emma, he whispered, my name barely a sound, more a breath. My heart answered before my voice did, leaning in, closing that last careful inch, not rushing. Just arriving. He didn't kiss me. He didn't need to. Instead, he lowered his head and rested his forehead to mine, his hands sliding gently to my waist, fingers curling with a tenderness that steadied me more than anything else could. It was intimacy in its purest form. Two people holding each other in a moment so honest it felt sacred. His voice came low, warm, a vibration between us. Do you feel that? He asked softly. I nodded, breath unsteady. I do. That's what I've been missing, he murmured. Not the past, not the memories. This, the way you make the world feel quiet. I closed my eyes, letting the closeness wrap around me like a slow, warm tide. You always brought out the calm in me, I whispered, even when everything else felt loud. He exhaled, his breath brushing my cheek, soft and warm. Then let me do that again, at whatever pace you need. The gentleness in his words reached something deep inside me, something I hadn't realized was still bruised, still waiting to be handled with care. I opened my eyes and found him, watching me with that same steady sincerity, the kind that made my chest feel too small for my heartbeat. I don't need distance, I said quietly. What I need is honesty, slowness, presence. I looked down at our hands, still joined, still warm, and this. Ryan's lips curved, the softest smile, one that held gratitude more than confidence. Then stay right here, he whispered. Just like this. He shifted closer, but still slow, still careful, so I could feel every inch of intention in the movement. His hands moved from my waist to my arms, gentle, steady, warming the skin through the fabric. Not claiming, reassuring. And I didn't realize how much I'd missed being touched like that. Not with hunger, but with meaning. I leaned into him, my head naturally finding the space just below his shoulder where I used to rest years ago, without thinking. He let out a breath, soft and almost broken, and wrapped his arms around me again. This time he held me a little tighter, not possessively, just fully. Emma, he said softly into my hair, if I'm dreaming this, don't wake me. You're not dreaming, I whispered against his chest. You're just finally home. His arms tightened for a heartbeat, an involuntary reaction, raw and real. And then he pressed a slow, warm, lingering kiss to the side of my head. Not a hungry kiss, not a rushed one. A promise of presence. A promise of return. A promise without words. I didn't know how much I needed this, he whispered, voice unsteady. Me neither, I breathed. We stayed there, wrapped in each other. Wrapped in the morning until the world around us softened into something gentle and new. And for the first time in years, the future didn't scare me. It simply felt possible.